Welcome to the Rational Egoist. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz. Today's guest is here to talk to us about the relationship between physical and psychological well-being. She knows a little something about this, as she is a personal fitness coach and she teaches kickboxing. She also happens to be an old friend of mine, Tracey Zito. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Very glad to have you. So, Tracey, you told me that even going back to when you were a child, you had both psychological problems, body image problems, and a dysfunctional relationship with food. So, first of all, when did this start and what do you attribute it to? What caused it?
So when I was younger, I grew up in a family, and some people had eating disorders. And so, with that being said, when you are a child, you hear everything around you. So what your parents are saying can affect you when it comes to your body image and thinking that you have to be a certain way and look a certain way. So that being said, I thought as a child that I was overeating and I was sent to a doctor, but I was probably just hungry and eating. So it made me feel that I was already at a young age not having a healthy relationship with food. That later in life turned into not eating enough food, which became me an anorexic way of being when it came to food, eating either too much or not enough. And throughout my life, I have fluctuated with having an unhealthy relationship with food.
So
It either
starting as a kid, a young kid, you started to internalize the messages from the people around you. It sounds like, and this interfered with a normal relationship with food. Like you said, you're eating not to when you're not hungry any longer. You're starting to stop eating just because you think it's bad to eat.
yes, bad to eat or um, not having healthy examples of what a healthy relationship with food is, which led me later on in life not to have a healthy relationship with it either.
Okay, so I met you when you were probably 13, and
Yes.
I have never seen you as an overweight person, but
But I
evidently.
don't think you remember me as overweight, but I was. Yeah. As so from probably when I was younger until 10, I was probably a little thicker.
Mhm.
And when I was 13, around that age, I was definitely anorexic. And then as I went into a relationship with someone, I became very happy and started doing the opposite, very comfortable with eating.
So when you say anorexic, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I would purposely eat one thing a day, make sure I worked out, burned off those calories, and every day continue on that. Some days I would not eat at all if I did not have to.
And what was your weight about this time? Do you remember? You're about what? About 5'2" in height?
Yeah, I'm 5'2", so I was probably like 113, maybe 112,
And,
110,
and were you
105.
still thinking you were overweight when you were 110 pounds?
Yes, nothing. I was never ever good enough. My body was never ever where I wanted to be, and I was not happy with who I was on the outside because I was not happy with who I was on the inside.
So 13 years old, 12, 13, 14. This is when young people start venturing out you start making friends. You're talking junior high school. You start making friends, maybe start dating. How did this affect your relationships with others? Not, I mean, your friends, but your first boyfriends, that type of thing. Did this
That's actually
complicate things?
a really good question. Being how food was a main part of my life, I mean, my body with it. If I did not like what I looked like that day because I felt like I was 5 pounds too heavy, I probably wouldn't go do what they were doing. I'd probably stay inside. Um, and then as I got older too, um, I just it just affected me mentally. I always worried about what others were thinking of me. It's me, me, me. They're looking at my body, they're judging me because I was judging myself. So it affected me mentally. And I didn't want to put myself out there as much. The only time I would put myself out there is my food addiction. Also, I had other addictions when it came to alcohol and drugs. And that gave me more confidence. And when I was like that, I didn't really care as much.
So to escape the insecurities revolving around body issues, you started using drugs and alcohol for maybe a pseudo confidence.
I just started like anything like the DARE program. You get pressured into doing stuff and then you do it. And I'm like, wow, this takes me out of my reality, puts me in a different place. And then I became more confident in my body.
So now you're drinking, I assume you mean smoking weed, right? Like you're not doing heroin when you're 14, 15 years old.
I have a past, and there are probably a lot of drugs and alcohol that
Okay.
I, yeah.
Okay. So you have this, so you're having drug and alcohol issues, you have body issues. And how is this affecting your ability to navigate your daily existence? I mean, you're still in school, for God's sake, at this point.
I love my mother. She was a very good support system. They tried a lot of different things to help me continue on going through school. Um, until I was sent to lots of different rehabs because of my addiction. And then when I was about 16 years old, I did the opposite of eating, not eating. I was more now I was eating. So I gained from 113, I went up to 170 pounds. My whole high school career, I was probably very, very heavy.
So you said that you were sent to these drug rehab programs. Did you find
Yeah.
any of them to be helpful to the issues that you were dealing with?
That being said, when I went to those places, food now is more of a control thing too. It's like, I can control food, I can control everything else in my life, but I can now have control of what I put in my life. What it became so obsessive, now I felt like sometimes I didn't have control of it. I was losing it to the anorexia.
And did they provide you with any tools that you found to be beneficial to what you were to getting better?
No, I would just act like I'm eating sometimes. It
Oh,
wasn't until I actually left the place where my anorexia again became more of the opposite when I was in a relationship with someone that was very supportive. And then I didn't really care what others thought as much. So I just kept eating and it went the opposite.
okay, so you mentioned this a couple times that you got into a relationship with someone, and at that point you stopped caring, and then you just ate freely. I guess is
Yeah.
the best way to put it.
I
So how old were you when you entered into this relationship?
was probably 16.
So you were 16. Okay, so at that point, do you think that being in that relationship, you started to feel better about yourself? Was it because you were experiencing being loved for the first time, or just the safety of having somebody you could count on? What do you attribute it to that made you feel more comfortable at this point?
Um, I probably was a lot happier. So being um, more content, probably like that, like you said, like more loved and I allowed myself to eat. And then the addiction of food, like the sweetness and not getting enough was I just kept eating whenever I wanted.
See, the to me the idea, and it sounds nice, and a lot of people probably like it, about the finding love and finally feeling good about yourself. But it seems to me that it's just more of the part of the problem. And what I mean by that is it's about, I need acceptance. I need to be approved of by others. And now that I'm being approved of, I feel better. So the problem actually isn't going away. It's just like a band-aid is being put over it. In hindsight, do you get that sense that that may be what was occurring?
Um, yes, but I also didn't care as much either when it came because I had someone, so I don't have to impress anyone, so I could eat
Except
whatever
for
I
him,
want.
though, except for him, right? Because
But it
now
was
you're
more of
kind of dependent
I
on
think he
him.
might have he that person at that time in my life, they did make more not nice comments about my weight too, and the opposite. But it didn't bother me as much because I didn't care.
Okay.
And it also, when I got to a certain weight, when I did start to care, um, sorry, my mom's calling.
That's a first for the show.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry.
Well,
Can you hear me? He
that's
does this
never
all the
happened
time.
before. But okay, so you're in this relationship and you're not caring as much about what other people think, and you're now eating maybe to excess. You're saying so there's almost an addiction to food maybe that's taking place. And you mentioned sweet, so sweet foods. So how long were you in this relationship for?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Um, so I was in that relationship for about 4 years, um, or so. And then what was your question again? I couldn't hear you.
My question was it related to you were doing well during that time. You stopped caring what other people thought. You maybe had a bit of a food of addiction, it sounds like, especially as relates to sweets. And you were in that relationship for 4 years. So I'm guessing that these problems, when you got out of the relationship, the problems weren't gone, right? So what
So
happened once the
before,
relationship ended?
well, before, yeah, the problem will never go away.
Okay.
It's being more mindful of it and where I am in that balance and healthy relationship with food. When I started to want to go back to being where I was, like weight wise, I had an, an anxiety when it came to the gym. So I would actually get dressed, want to go into the gym and work out, but I couldn't because I was afraid everyone was going to judge me. So that was a place where even though I wanted to go in there, oh no, they're going to look at me as I'm working out. So it was on me, um, which made me feel uncomfortable wanting to work out with others. When I was younger too, though, I used to do Richard Simmons. They were old tapes. I don't know if people remember them.
I do,
So
yes.
I did. I started working out after I was sent to a place to go talk about my overeating as a young kid. And so I did. I would start working out. I would see the old tapes of X, and I'd work out in my house to these videos. And they would start making me feel better. Uh, and even Tybo, like I don't remember the old boxing stuff. I would do all those tapes at my house, and they were the
And you felt
VHS.
better just doing them, not even
I
getting the
did, but
results,
then
but just doing it?
it also became excessive too. Like I would put them on and keep trying to do them, or I wouldn't be consistent with them in the beginning. When I started being consistent in the gym, is when I started seeing results. But then I got addicted to that, where I wouldn't go in to the gym. Once I started feeling confident enough to go in there, uh, I wouldn't stop. Like I could actually go in the gym and work out for like 3 hours.
So at what point in your life do you decide that you've got to that you're tired of this sort of obsessive and compulsive lifestyle you're living, this back and forth with the food, not working out to excess? When do you come to the realization that enough is enough with this whole way of living?
So again, now that I am where I am, I realize that health is not a straight line. You're
Hmm.
going to have your ups and downs. And so I will tell you honestly, probably in the last 2 years, I finally figured it out. And I just recently turned 44 years old. And it's learning to have a healthy relationship with food. Do I get lost? Do I get into those places where fall off track? Yes. And then I find things that get me back on track. Meaning, I entered a place called Manchester Fit Body Boot Camp where I work right now. And I started being a teacher there 2 times a week, and I was waitressing. And then so that was in 2018. So I recently broke up with a person that was not the one when I was younger. And when I was with that person, I would order out a lot of food and I would eat, but I got stomach issues all the time and I would sneeze and I'd have allergies. And it was really bad with the cramps that I was getting in my stomach. Once I broke up with that person and I'm going to Manchester Fit Body, not only teaching there 2 days a week, I was, how can I explain it? Started changing my diet in a way that I realized I actually had food allergies. When I took away gluten, it's not a gluten allergy that I have because I've been tested for it. I actually stopped feeling that pain in my stomach and not feeling as bloated. When I stopped eating processed food, that was another thing. Whole foods and like really, really nutritional food is when I started feeling better in my body. When I started working out at Manchester Fit Body Boot Camp on a consistent basis is when my life started changing, because now it's a 30-minute workout. And that being said, I'm not in the gym overdoing or underdoing it and not knowing what to do. I was now working out consistently, and anything you do consistently over time, it being a healthy habit, is when you will start to see change. You can't want, the more you keep wanting it and not taking action to do it, the more you're never going to get there. So the more I've been consistent in the workout, eating healthy, I lost about 30 pounds going there. I probably entered there about 142. And by that September, I was down to like 113, 114. And I was eating healthy. My body itself, even though when I say at that time I was that underweight, I wasn't eating healthy. When I eat consistently and eat healthy, I went and seen a nutritionist. I can be around 110 pounds and still be a healthy weight. I can also be up to 132 pounds at my weight and still be a healthy weight. There's an equilibrium in there. People might like their body a certain way. I like where I am now in my weight. So right now, I'm 117 pounds.
But
And
it's
it's the
now
number.
it's healthy, right? As opposed to when you were a kid.
Yeah. And then people will sometimes look at me, Michael, and I'll still get people saying, "You look skinny. You look skinny. You don't lose any weight." And so people are always going to have opinion about what you look like, what they want you to look like. But what I feel like is amazing. So even though I weigh what I weigh, I have 25% fat and about 33% muscle. Is that like perfect for an athletic person? No, I probably can get down to like 119% body fat and be down to 110. Where I seen a nutritionist and that's what they told me. But me personally, I don't want to be that. I want to be right where I am. I like the way I'm at. I make sure that I'm not losing muscle. So that's the thing. People can work out and they can get to a certain weight, but then they lose the muscle along the way. And that's the thing that we need to keep our bones healthy, to keep us healthy, if that makes sense.
Yes. Now, the other day you told me that working out now, it's no longer about trying to look good. You're not in the gym trying to, look nice for everybody else. And you told me that you'll eat when you want to eat something, you just eat it. You're not starving yourself, but you're not eating excessively either. So how do you get to that point, to the point where you are now? Now, you also told me that, like you said earlier, there's still ups and downs. It's not perfect. You still struggle like we all do, but you're at a good place now where it's about you and your well-being and not about what other people are thinking. How did you get there?
So how I got there, it didn't happen overnight. And it's not just the place that I go, Manchester Fit Body Boot Camp, and I work out there. I am a yoga teacher. I was trained at a place called Live Free Yoga. Live Free Yoga is the yoga I am trained to teach, but it's called the Yoga Shop. They have places all over, and that place has changed my life. I learned about not judging myself, being connected, grounded in my feet, and not having to be perfect. When you set your expectations to being perfect, um, you always have the expectation of having to do and look and be perfect in every aspect you do. And that's so stressful. You're living in a stress zone. Yoga has taught me to be on my mat, to figure out what works, what doesn't, to breathe through certain situations, to be grounded. And it's okay if you fall. It's just not staying there, finding strength and getting back up. And you're and just focusing on the present moment. When we're focused on, oh, I can't eat that later, or having that attachment to an outcome, we're always in the future, which is the anxiety state. And when we're always judging ourselves to being what we looked like in the past or something in the past, it can be depressing. And when we get to that center of making mindful choices, accountable every day for what you do, is how my life has changed. It's having a healthy relationship with food, meaning I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to fuel my body with certain foods, because if I don't, I'm going to be very tired. I'm going to be very sluggish. That's not going to get me to where I want to be. I started this thing called the Accountability Challenge. Some people I let go on there for free. It's a group on Facebook, and it's women on there inspiring other women to eat healthy, make healthy choices. If it wasn't for the yoga, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I think people need to meditate. I think people need to do yoga, not to be flexible, but to understand their bodies and be more mindful with their choices, to let go of the past and let go of the future and be that person they want. So when I stopped attaching myself to the future 10 pounds, I need to lose 10 pounds. I want to look like that. And I just take the steps, because when you get there, you're always going to want more, and you're going to be in that wanting stage. I believe in manifestation. I believe the only way to obtain that is to become the person that you want to be in the future. And every day I wake up and I want to be the healthiest version of myself. So it's action. So I wake up and I make choices. It's mindful. And you have to, in my gym, when I teach people modifications and meeting themselves where they're at, either through intensifying it or modifying it, same thing when it comes to food. You have to have a backup plan. You have to have that thing that you can do on to go. And it's not one size fits all. I've done the shake things. I've done, like, you can name it, the pills. Like, what can you do for that fast thing? And what happens is what you do, you're going to have to keep doing to maintain it. So
That's like you said earlier, right? Consistency. You need to be consistent,
you have to,
whatever you're
and you
going to
have
do.
to eat for fuel. You have, and food's all around. Like, you can go to the gym, and it's when you go to the gym and then you can think that you can eat whatever you want when you're out. That's not true. The
No.
conversation that me and you had, I don't want people to mislead that either. I am at a place where I am that I know what to do. If I say I'm eating not the most healthiest meal, I'll try to pick them one that is the most healthiest option. Maybe later on, if I didn't eat as healthy, my next meal will be even more healthier that day,
To balance it
instead
out.
of binging later on.
So you balance out your meals so that you're maintaining an equilibrium of healthy food.
Yeah. And I find what works for me might not work for someone else. You have to figure your lifestyle in order to figure out what works for you. Some people can be on a vegan diet, which I've done. I did it for 4 months. And actually, it was the best thing that I ever did. I took out meat out of my diet. And then you'll have that big debate. Be a vegan, be a meat eater. Which one's right? Which one works right for you? I do believe in what people say about being a vegan and how it helps your blood and your energy. You're going to get nutritional food from the main source. Like, a lot of times we're eating meat, right? What are the animals eating? A lot of times they're eating vegetables, but we also have to be very careful about where the vegetables are coming, because all the chemicals they're putting on the fruits and the pesticides and where it's coming from, that can play into and not being healthy. We have to make sure that we're washing our fruits and our veggies in certain waters to get off all those pesticides too.
Tracy, you said something earlier that's sticking in my head, because in one hand you said that the future is the anxiety state when you're focused on the future. But
Yeah.
you also said that you have to decide the person you want to be and take action to become that person. And to some people, it may sound contradictory, but tell me if you can relate to this. When I'm trying to become a better human being, as I've been doing now for almost 20 years, I have two states that I try to keep in mind. One is the future, the person that I want to become. And whenever I find myself getting anxiety about not being where I want to be, I look backwards and I say, but look how far I came. But then whenever I get too confident that I'm where I want to be, then I look to the future and say, but where do I want to be? So I always have that balance to recognize where I came from, where I want to be. And that helps me to stay grounded. So I don't get too anxious about not being what I want to be, but yet I don't get too depressed either. If that makes sense to you. What I mean is I don't, not depressed, wasn't the right word. I don't get too overconfident with all the progress I've made, but also don't get anxious about not being where I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, that it does get tricky because people will be like, okay, I'm exactly where I want to be, right? So then I don't have to do any more work, right? And so it is work every day. Um, you're working on your health, you're investing in yourself, whether it be mentally, physically, or spiritually. When I can tell when I'm off in one of those paths, so something's not working out, my mind has to be not too far in the future, not too far in the past. I have to be present. My spiritual being, meaning meditating, calmness, not in the anxiety state or the past, like really connected to my heart center and the things that I value. And then, and then the physical state. Where am I there? Have I worked out today? So when you keep your mental state very good, your physical state very good, um, it evens out so that you're in a good place. I don't know if that makes
It
sense.
does. So now would you consider yourself to be happy today?
Yeah. Well, so happiness. Um, I don't like to look at chasing happiness because you're always chasing it. Same thing. If I'm always looking for that 5 pounds to make me happy, then I'm always looking there. So I was actually, and I know you did something on mental, you were talking about
Mental
disease.
illness, yes.
Yes. So I will tell you that I was diagnosed with bipolar, manic, excessive compulsive. If you name it, I probably have it. And that's why I get very excessive when it comes to things. Am I on any medication for my depression and all that? No. And why? Because I don't trust myself if I do go on medication because I don't know what I would do. And if the doctors are not going to be there for me, then I'm not going to take meds because I don't know what I would do if I was on meds. Am I saying that medication is for people? Yes. But I sometimes feel like we are so over medicated and we depend on something to give us that place of happiness, that numbing out. And when it comes to yoga, that is my presence. That helps my mind not go in these manic stages or these negative places. So I am able to be more present and not be depressed, not looking for happiness to come from something else.
It sounds
If
like your attitude toward medication is like your attitude toward the other stuff you're talking about, is that whatever
no,
works for
like
people
I
was
feel
what
like
people should do, right?
some people need medication in order to help them. But me personally, it's like I said, it's not one size fits all. For that person, I don't judge them for being on there. I have a job where I have to get up on time. I can't worry that the side effects of those are going to not um, keep me sluggish. Also, I do that part where you talk about, am I okay with my weight? I'm scared if I go on meds, some of those have the opposite effect where they will help me maybe gain weight, which is not going to make me feel good inside.
Yeah.
So that is my my thing about medication. Um, I'd rather focus on doing things natural. Food can play a really part in making someone's mental illness, or what people want to call it, more intense, because they are eating unhealthy. And a lot of times the foods we eat can change the brain chemistry.
Yes.
I know if I eat processed, I know if I eat sugar, I'm going to feel sluggish. My mind's not going to be clear. And I might have more depression and be more sad and have more manic episodes and not be in an unhealthy state of mind. So am I happy today? I am. I'm feeling good. Will
Good.
my mood change? Yes. Will I do things to help me out? When I'm angry, I box. When I am not making healthy choices, I'm going to make sure I do yoga. Am I going to do a 30-minute workout? Yes, because it's going to make me feel better later on. When we start saying, I want to do this, and we start, and then we actually take actions to it, it's going to help us feel happier, because we're keeping ourselves accountable and doing things that we don't want to do. And the more things that we don't want to do that are good for us, the more we train our brain to create a healthy habit. And when you create a healthy habit, we're creatures of habits. It just takes like 30 days. And then I had a member recently, I'm so proud. He almost wanted to quit, and you'll see him. And he came in and his shoulders weren't feeling good. I showed him different modifications, not letting his limits be his limits. And he lost weight, and he's also getting stronger. He's getting more use of his arm, and he feels confident. And he almost left because it stopped. For 30 minutes, he was plateauing. And now, 30 days he was. And then he ended up staying, and he got over that. So I am at a good place in my life because I set myself up where I have someone to talk to. I go see a therapist. I do yoga. I have my kickboxing when I'm angry at people, or I go to the batting cages or golfing, and that is my physical anger. Because I used to be an angry person, where I let it be a healthy version of anger. I let my yoga be my time where I take time to stop thinking about my job or my kid or something else, where it becomes me time, and I allow myself that little space from my thoughts that can drive us crazy and put us in a circle and we don't know which direction. It grounds me and allows me to make better choices because I'm more present. And the yoga, the weight training, like you can go to a gym and move your arms around and just be there on autopilot. I'm present. I'm going past that place of uncomfortableness, but in a safe place where I'm training my brain that I have control of what I'm doing right now. And you'll have that voice stop. It will say, it will come in. It will be like, don't do that. You don't have, your brain sometimes will talk you out of it. You'll hear it. I can't explain it to you. It's that feeling of, I don't have anything left. And
Yeah,
when you
enough is
go
enough.
past that comfort zone, you're like, I do. You become physically and mentally more stronger in the things that we think we can't do, if that makes sense. So I'm at a good place because I'm eating healthier. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing yoga. I have my things that are there mentally support me and physically.
Okay, Tracey. So you're all over the place. So you've got a kickboxing thing going on, a fitness thing. You've got some groups on Facebook. Where can people in the audience find you?
Well, actually, they can find me and they can vote for me. It's okay
Okay.
if I tell them what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So I actually entered a contest on my page, Tracey Zito on Facebook. There's a link. It's a Miss Health and Fitness 2023, Tracey / Zito. And I'm trying to win a contest to win $20,000 and be on the cover of a magazine. So the only way I get to go on there is if people vote daily every 24 hours. You can donate money to Wounded Warriors, and that money, percentage of it will go to them. And then how much money donated, I get those votes. Right now I'm in second place. I was in first. And then there's different groups, and that will last
But
for
it's
about the
free. People don't have to pay, right? If they don't want to, they can
You
just
don't
go
have
and
to
vote
pay.
for
Everyone's
free.
like, I don't know how to pay. No, there's a free link There's a free vote on the bottom, and you don't have to. On my page, I show exactly how you can do a free vote. You do not have to pay. If you don't have Facebook, you will have to verify your credit card. And my friend did it, and he has not been ripped off. If they do, we'll come after them.
I voted.
Huh?
I voted. I didn't have to pay anything.
Thank you. Yes, there's a way to vote for free and support me along this. But I care about everyone. So when I am in the gym, sometimes I'm like an overbearing mother, but I also tell them to tell me to leave them alone. Because you can go to a gym and you guys can work out, but if you don't have the correct form, your actually exercise can be really bad for you. So I want people to be mindful of what they're doing when it comes to their body, also what they're putting in their mouth, and the words they're choosing to use. Um, Having a healthy relationship starts with your mind. It starts with your daily activity from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And the more kinder we can be to ourselves from the inside, it will show on the outside. And then the more kinder we'll be to others.
All right, Tracey, thank you very much for being here. That's Tracey Zito. Remember, vote for her to be on the cover of the magazine. For now, this is the Rational Egoist signing out. I'm Michael Liebowitz. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time.